Hello, my name is Wendy Sebastian. I am the owner of Refresh Your Soul. Refresh Your Soul is the premier wellness facility located in the heart of Sacramento. We specialize in optimizing health and wellness, specifically gut health. We have colon hydrotherapy systems, nutrition that specialize in integrative labs, and detoxification. This video, in and of itself, we are going to talk about colon hydrotherapy. At Refresh Your Soul, we have two different types of systems, the open and closed systems. Both are effective and both have different ways of going about evacuating the colon. There are videos specifically going over the different ways that we do that. I am going to go into colon hydrotherapy, frequently asked questions, the anatomy of the colon, and the microbiome in this video. If you'd like to know a little bit more about the two different systems, there are specific videos on that. Specifically, though, just to touch on a couple of key points, the open system is a little more natural fill. You do participate in it, and our colon technicians supervise for you, but it is a little bit more private. Where the closed system, the colon hydrotherapist is in there the entire time. The patient is passive, and the therapist is toggling the pressure, and it can go up to 2 psi. And the therapist there is evaluating what is going on in the session the entire time. So let's talk about colon hydrotherapy in itself, and why would somebody do colon hydrotherapy? Essentially, the reasons why people would do colon hydrotherapy is they're, at the end of the day, trying to work on their overall health and digestion. I feel that why would you not work on colon hydrotherapy with the more and more information that we're learning about digestive health and how important it is? So just imagine today if we brush and floss our teeth twice a day. Things get impacted in our mouth. Well, it's the same kind of philosophy with our colon. Our colon is 5 feet long. It has pockets and grooves. It's called haustras. So whether we eat healthy or not, things still get caught up in our teeth. Well, it's very similar to the back of our colon. We build up this, basically, we line our colon with feces, and in our haustras, it also gets, foods get caught in these pockets. So over a period of time of not cleansing our colon, this can get built up on there, and we can tend to get impacted. So, there are people, due to genetics, stress levels, and we'll talk about why would somebody have digestive issues in a minute, but it is very important to maintain this. And in other countries, this is part of just what they do as part of their medical practice. And I'm hoping it is getting better within our culture. Recently, to start to support colon hydrotherapy, because people are becoming more and more how important gut health is. So this is why people do colon hydrotherapy: one, to support and do preventative; two, to support their digestive health; three, because it is medically indicated by the FDA to do colon hydrotherapy for constipation, and it is for alternate bowel prep. So let's talk about exactly what is colon hydrotherapy. Colon hydrotherapy is a way to use a speculum that is sterile and disposable. It is inserted into the colon where water is infused, and it hydrates the fecal matter, and that in and of itself allows for the impacted stool to be removed or evacuated out of the colon. So it's a fancy way of saying we cleanse and evacuate the entire colon. One of the common misconceptions is that you're going to cleanse your whole colon in one session. So the next question obviously is, how many sessions do I need to do to cleanse my whole colon? This really depends on somebody's digestive health and overall health. Every client is different. I would say if you're a frequent pooper, meaning that you have 2+ bowel movements a day, you could because there's the colon, like I said, is 5 feet long. You possibly could get your colon cleansed in 3 sessions. If you are having any kind of digestive issues, I would tend to say 6. Now, keep in mind the whole purpose, if you're leaning towards living a detox life, that once we cleanse the colon, typically the whole purpose is to also cleanse the accessory organs. So once we cleanse the colon, if you are impacted, this is also affecting the filtering or accessory organs, that we want to encourage you to continue doing this, because then in and of itself allows for those organs that have been backed up due to your colon being backed up as well, to then filter out the impacted feces as well. Okay, so this is the main purpose of cleansing the colon, is to start to work towards living a detox life. We oftentimes aren't aware just how much toxins is in the environment, the herbicides and pesticides in the foods, in our makeup, in our products, in our, even just our household products. All these things have contributed to affecting us and our overall health. I guess that will segue into our next question is, Wendy, how did, why do I have digestive issues? Truly, I can't answer that for you. But I can tell you there are some things in the current literature that we do know about how digestive issues have may have gotten started. So I'm going to list off some of these, and maybe some of these ring true for you. So first off, we'll just start with genetic issues. I mean, sometimes those things do have a major play. Second thing is, we do know possibly to how you were birthed. Were you have a cesarean birth? Did you develop a microbiome? Were you natural birth? Did you have early childhood trauma? We now can see that that has a major player in developing that, and we will talk a little bit more about that and the anatomy and physiology piece. Antibiotic use. Oftentimes when we take antibiotics, it can wipe out certain phyla or certain species, and just how that has damaged that. Stress. So if we have a lot of stress, that can really, so the whole thing about the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, so we're not in rest and digest versus so we're in fight and flight. So that can really affect our overall digestive tract. And then naturally, our diet and hydration. So as a whole, our whole society is not getting enough fiber. I was looking at the current literature on this, and overall, we are not getting enough fiber in our diet. And I'm not just talking vegetables. I'm talking insoluble and soluble fiber. This is essential. And I mean, this really impacts our microbiome. And again, I'll go into this a little bit deeper. But if we are not eating a wide variety of food, then that really starves out a whole variety of our bacteria within our gut. So we want to be mindful about this, and just remember that if you're having GI issues, you didn't get here today. This has been going on for a period of time, that and you can heal your gut. I'm living proof of it. Everybody, I think a lot of people, well, this is just the way I'm going to be forever. No, you can heal your gut. You can get good digestion. It just takes time. Just like if you blew out your knee, you're not going to be going and running a marathon tomorrow. This may take a couple of years for you to get to good and optimal health. I encourage you to be compassionate, kind, and patient with yourself, that this, again, just didn't happen overnight. So these are some of the things that may have led up to your digestive health issues and why it may have occurred. So oftentimes our clients want to know some of the benefits of colon hydrotherapy. Oftentimes our patients share that they are getting better digestion, that they are feeling more hydrated, more energy, lighter, more clarity of thought, better cognitive function. These are some of the things that our clients share with us, and why they continue to use colon hydrotherapy as part of their lifestyle. And we are going to discuss how to do colon hydrotherapy. There'll be a video following this, how to do colon hydrotherapy, so you can have a little more comfort segue in to your very first session. So I'm going to segue into the anatomy and physiology portion of this video. So essentially, why do we eat? at the end of the day, we eat for nutrition. So when we eat, we masticate or chew our food. It goes in through our mouth, in through our esophagus, into our stomach, where most of our protein is broken down through the hydrochloric acid, and then it will go into our small intestines. Most of our digestion happens in our small intestines. Then it will travel down into our large intestines and or colon. They are both the same thing. So our colon, it travels up, over, down, and out. So when our food goes from our small intestines to our large intestines, it kind of looks like baby food. It's called chyme. So it's the function of the colon is to make this baby food into a cylinder so it can easily evacuate. So when it's doing this process, some of the functions of the colon is to absorb minerals. Also, the colon is where it holds its water for the entire body. So this is one of the first two things I ask my clients is how much water are you consuming? Because this is the lubrication that gets the fecal matter out. It absorbs this minerals. It also absorbs vitamin B and vitamin K. So there's some other things that the colon does, but for simplicity, we're going to stop there. Also, there is bugs that live within the gut. It's called the microbiome, and it's an ecological community. So I think a lot of times they just think bacteria, but there's also like fungus and archaea, and basically it keeps it in balance. So there's always a little bit of good and a little bit of bad. Of course, we don't want overgrowth of bad. And sometimes when we have constipation, this can breed overgrowth of bad. So for simplicity, I'm just going to talk about bacteria today. So when we eat fiber, our bacteria eat this fiber, and the byproduct of this fiber is these short chain fatty acids, and these are immensely important for our overall health. So these short chain fatty acids produce this beautiful mucosa lining. They also have signaling molecules that communicate to the rest of our body, and this helps with our long-term health and helps mitigate these major diseases. The more we're researching and learning about the microbiome, the more we're learning and just how important this microbiome is. And again, the more variety of food that we have, the variety of species we have. So it's very important to make sure that we're essentially eating these fruits and vegetables in our diet. A lot of people want to talk about prebiotics and probiotics, and we can do a whole video on that. But for today, we're going to talk about that these bacteria is communicating to our brain. This is called the brain-gut axis, and the vagus nerve is part of this. And then the brain communicates down to these bugs. So great mindset, negative emotions will also affect these bacteria. So due to Dr. Mayer and Dr. Emmerich, there's a whole body of research around this. And there's actually Dr. Droserman coined the IBS. So now we know just how important this bacteria is. So the more we take antibiotics, this is affect these different bugs, these different phyla, these different species. So this is very important to be mindful about how we take care of our digestive health. So a couple of the misconceptions, as I touched on, one is that one colonic or colon hydrotherapy session will clear out your colon. I wish I could. I wish it would. Two, that it will perforate your colon. I've been in the business 14 years. I'm on the board. I'm an instructor. Have never seen a perforation. If they are qualified and they are certified, and of course do your research, this does not happen. That it'll affect your healthy bacteria. Again, this is a misconception that we are now seeing a current body of research being done that this is not true. There's actually a current piece of literature out right now that actually shows the exact opposite, and there's more being done. So we've actually seen a bunch of literature in the last couple of years come out, and more needs to be done, of course, but this is actually helping the industry start to change. Yes, of course, there more needs to be done. And yes, of course, the difference between integrative doctors and Western doctors, sometimes that can be confusing and hard to navigate. And of course, I just believe it comes down to education. And some doctors are getting on board, and some doctors just, they need to be provided the education. And that's okay. I believe that that's part of why we're doing these videos and continuing to educate people more about colon hydrotherapy and how it can benefit you and your overall health. If you have more questions, if you'd like to know more about colon hydrotherapy and how it may be benefit for you, let us know. Are there contraindications? Yes, there are. So if you're struggling with a recent heart attack, well, if you're struggling with a heart attack or a recent colon surgery or a renal disease, or you're having if you fall into the category of IBD and you're in a flare of any sort, this is not the time, or you cannot do colon hydrotherapy. If you are in recovery of IBD, you can get a doctor's release, and it can be something that you can do. If you have any questions about whether it can be something that you can utilize as part of your healthcare, please reach out to us and we will be able to answer those questions. We will look forward to seeing you soon.